This is the final room of our tour, the Singers' Hall. It was modeled after the Singers' Hall of the Wartburg Castle, where minstrel competitions were held in the 13th century. The hall was built for small private concerts, but Ludwig himself never gave one here. It is said that during the last few years of Wagner's life, he came to Neuschwanstein frequently and performed for the king alone in this room. The hall is probably best known for its enigmatic wolf paintings. The original paintings were from the Parsifal saga, but in 1882 Ludwig had them replaced, supplying the description and titles of the new paintings himself. While all the other rooms in the castle show scenes from Wagner's operas, the scenes in this room are not from any opera that anyone can identify. It is yet another of the many mysteries associated with the life of the fairy tale king.
Schauen wir uns nochmal das Wölkchen an.
There must be a story behind these wolf paintings. But what story?
Wie bin ich darüber gekommen? Okay.
I don't have anything to say.
Ich habe auch keine neuen Sachen.
A ticket to the Ludwig Museum.
Laut meiner kleinen Hilfe im Internet, weil ich jetzt schon sehr ratlos bin, müsste hier eigentlich eine Cutscene mit Gerda losgehen. Schon, aber die ganze Zeit über. Ich habe irgendwo in irgendeinem Raum irgendwas nicht angeklickt.
Hi, Gerda. I'm back. Good.
Oh, come on.
I don't have anything to ask Gerda right now.
Oh, das nervt mich jetzt gerade sehr. Das Welches Buch? Das Buch von der Frau von Wagner? Da komme ich ja nicht dran. Da komme ich nicht dran. Nein, jetzt bin ich falsch auch noch. Nach Bayreuth. Gibt es ein neues Buch?
I wish I could read these biographies of Ludwig. Wait a minute. Ludwig II, fairy tale king of Bavaria. I didn't see this before.
Oh.
English. Huh.
Danke, Enrico. Oh, das ist doch... Wenn ich dich nicht hätte, ne? Ich könnte kein Spiel hier ausspielen. Aber komm, das ist schon ein bisschen nervig.
Ludwig remained throughout his life both very bright and very naive. He was an introvert who seemed to be constantly out of sync with traditional views of rulership, money, and human relationships. The world ever failed to match his ideals. Perhaps this was a fault of his sheltered upbringing as future king. He never was introduced to the real world, and the real world failed to interest him as an adult. In his youth, Ludwig was in fine physical condition and loved to hike alone in the Alps and ride horses. He had a hunting lodge, Schachen, specifically for this purpose. Unfortunately, in 1872, a rather traumatic hunting accident befell the king at Schachen, and his leg was cruelly damaged. He never fully recovered from this incident, and his hiking and riding ceased. His physical health deteriorated from that time on, and explains why he looked so unhealthy in later years. A hunting accident? Other than his long-standing friendship with the Empress Elizabeth of Austria and with his mother, the relationships Ludwig attempted with others were nearly always a disappointment for him and a bewilderment for his partners. He would become obsessed with someone, a singer, an artist, a nobleman or a peasant, and would bombard them with gifts, praise, and favors. When they would fail to return the depths of rapturous passion he required, the singular adoration and humble obedience he expected, he would grow disappointed and cut himself off from them. The objects of his interest were occasionally women, usually ones he fell in love with after seeing them in idealized roles on the stage, but they were more often young men who fit his fantasies of the heroic sagas like Lohengrin and Parsifal that he so loved.
I don't know if it was that big in Germany. When I played it, I was a child. I didn't recognize how the media took the games. Like, was ist das für ein Video? Ich traue mich nicht rausklicken, weil sonst mein Spiel vielleicht wieder abstürzt.
A good example of the king's obsessive behavior in relationships is the following letter from the Königlich Bayerische archives, which this author was privileged to access. It is dated 1864, and it was written by Ludwig's manservant, Paul, to a friend. The king has been in high mood these days. The reason, of course, is a new interest. Thursday last, the king attended a performance of Lohengrin in the Wittelsbacher Theater. He came back in a fever, demanding that a man be found. The man, it was gathered, had been sitting in a box across from Ludwig and had drawn the king's attention by his beauty and his deep emotional response to the performance. The king declared that here at last is a sensitive soul. The man was tracked down and brought in for an audience. Upon my word, never have I seen any mind so in line with His Majesty's own. They discussed Wagner and France and Byron and all manner of things until long past dawn. The young man, beautiful indeed to look upon, met the king's enthusiasm and knowledge bit for bit. His Majesty has been in the thick of it ever since, and while I welcome his good temper, I grow tired of fetching letters back and forth to Louis, so called by His Majesty, that should tell you who the young man looks like, at all hours of the night. This author has not been able to learn much about Louis, but he was known to have been a seemingly high-bred foreigner, and he was involved with Ludwig as late as 1880, when he fell into disfavor.
You've missed a scene with our Black Beauty when Gabriel visited him in the evening. And the quarrel between the Hunter's Lounge when the Baron showed his favor to Gabriel.
The king, especially later in life, felt a great deal of guilt about his sensual nature. His diaries are full of repentant entries begging God for forgiveness and swearing to remain pure. In many of the diary entries, he swears to abstain from sexual relations. The number of these oath entries indicate that Ludwig was not very successful in resisting temptation, yet it is also clear that Ludwig was a God-fearing man and that, though his flesh might occasionally fall, he never surrendered his heart and his conscience to sin.
Ludwig had a tough life.
I don't have anything to ask Gerda right now.
Enrico, and now? Can I now write Gabriel? Die Rosen habe ich schon übergeben, deswegen sind wir jetzt gut mit Gerda.
I'll write to Gabriel. Who should I call?
Museum-Eintrittskarte. Eintrittskarte, wir waren ja schon im Museum. Da ist die Eintrittskarte.
A ticket to the Ludwig Museum.
We had an opera singer in one of our units and said he sang Wagner, and my dad was like, "Oh, I love Wagner," and asked what he sang, and the guy looked around and realized my dad was Jewish and was like, "Oh, well, not really Wagner, but Flight of the Valkyries. And my dad was like, "But that's Wagner." What?
Nice view of... I'm not sure why... I don't have anything...
Okay, so he was really just pretending, and your dad blew him up. Oh, cool. I've actually never seen opera, though I'm living in Vienna. But yeah, no.
July. The feeling. Elizabeth March. June. June. In this no.
I'm more into theater and musicals, so the low class entertainment. Oh, here I can decide where to go. Okay, so once more.
Ludwig and Wagner. Ludwig loved the opera.
Yeah, we had this. We had those 4 entries.
26.
We had the
Looks
Abbey
like it
Road.
weighs a ton. Ludwig's Grand Master Wardrobe from the Knights of St. George.
No, I haven't seen, you know. Wicked, it used to be in Germany, but they translated the songs. And when I listened to one of the songs to Defying Gravity in German, I was like, no, that's not right. They've ruined everything.
Richard Wagner.
I missed this. That's new.
The original diary is kept in the Royal Archives. A few entries are shown on the opposite wall. I've got to see that diary.
Okay, once more. Where is it? Ludwig kept the diary from 1800 when he was 23 years old and his dad's life provides his name. Right, a few entries shown. Okay. Yes.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ludwigs Tagebuch im Museum?
Ja,
Wo kann ich Ludwigs Tagebuch hier anschauen?
die Tagebücher sind ganz persönlich. Die sind in den königlichen Archiven. Niemand darf die lesen.
Aber
Nein, niemand darf die lesen.
danke.
Niemand! So she just said that the diaries are really personal, so no one's allowed to read them. You were drunk, where have you been? With friends at home or outside? Well, I stayed at home and I was twitching, streaming.
I don't have anything to say to her at the moment.
A few bars, is one not enough? Okay, we're finished at the museum, that's good, that's good.
Hi, did you have a good time?
Uh-huh. Anything new?
Yes, you had a phone call.
Really?
A man named Professor Barkley. He said you had his number.
I do. Thanks.
Great, now I got it. You know you're an alcoholic when a bartender knows you by first name. Oh dude, you have a problem. What? What's your favorite drink? Is it beer, wine, or a cocktail? Or whiskey?
Who should I call?
Dude, wirklich? Oh, gin tonic is great. I love gin. Tequila is still my most fave, but gin is great.
Hi, Professor Barkley. It's Grace.
Oh, good. I have a name for you. It's Herr Josef Dahlmeier, and he specializes in Bavarian history, and I think he's somewhere near you are.
Herr Josef Dahlmeier. Great, got a number?
Yeah, I do. It's 4982-555-2234.
Thanks a lot. Sorry about the bother.
That's no bother. When are you coming back to school, Gracie?
When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Well, be good.
Crazy. They drink at home because it's cheap. Oh well, I drink beer and tequila in the evening, so that's fine for me. It goes with beer. And tequila sunrise as a cocktail. Well, in Vienna we have a lot of new bars reopening, so maybe it's a hipster thing right now. So a lot of the young hipsters are going to the bars.
Professor Barkley's Ludwig contact.
Hallo?
Hallo, sind Sie Herr Josef Dahlmeier?
Yeah, you must be Grace Nakamura, the American history student.
Yes,
I hear you're interested in Ludwig II.
very.
Good. There's something I want to show you. Drive to Berg on Starnberger See. Meet me at the Memorial Chapel.
All right, thank you.
Oh, wait. Was there anything you wanted me to look into before we meet?
Well, I was hoping you knew something about someone called the Black Wolf. He was a contemporary of Ludwig's. He lived in Prussia, I think, and he was well connected.
Never heard of him, but I'll check. See you there.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, he's a Ludwig expert, and she and Gabriel already know about the Black Wolf. Everyone Gabriel talks to knows about the Black Wolf, but the expert has never heard of that. Great. Is it true in Vienna that water is expensive? No. What do you mean with water? You don't pay for water in a restaurant or in a bar. There's just one bar, one restaurant I know, they charge 50 cents. So half an euro for a glass of water. Yeah, that's true. The discos are downsizing here too. Let's go meet this guy. What? Enrico, from what bars are you talking about? In Deutschland oder in Österreich?
I don't have anything to ask Gerda right now.
Okay. So yeah, you have a few. I love this music. I know I'm saying it again and again, but I love it. Of course, I know there are a few bars where the non-alcoholics are quite expensive. In Austria, each bar and restaurant has the need of having one youth drink on their card, so that has to be really cheap. And yeah, there can be a bottle of mineral water, water with sparkle, for about $3.40. But I've never seen that a beer was cheaper than water. Never. Not even, not the same amount. Okay. Go on, Spencer, what? Pils 1,20. Ich muss nach Deutschland. I have a good friend named Berghoff in the US Army and told him that his last name meant the eagle's nest. War jetzt ein deutscher Mark. Also okay. Berghoff. Berg is like mountain and Hoff. I don't know what a Hoff is. Berghoff. I don't think so, no. But I'm not quite sure. Oh, beautiful.
It's a memorial chapel.
Maybe Enrico knows more. I can't say if that's true or not.
It's a memorial chapel.
This is where he died.
Oh God.
You must be Grace. Herr Dahlmeier.
Hello.
Josef. I didn't mean to startle you. I wanted you to see it. I feel him here the most, you know, more than at the castle. So, what did you want to know?
Whoa, that will be a long conversation.
Professor Barclay says your hobby is Ludwig.
Yes. He was the last real king that Bavaria had. As a Bavarian and a history buff, well, that's enough to hook me right there.
But there's more, right?
He was a romantic, you know. A dreamer. And he was misunderstood, maligned.
Sounds like you can relate.
Me? Hell, I have it easy. At least I live in the 1990s. And not every eye in the country is on me. But yes, I can relate.
What, you don't like his haircut?
You know about Ludwig's diary, right?
Of course.
How can I get my hands on it?
I'm sorry. I have been trying myself for 5 years. They keep it locked up tight in the Royal Archives and they don't let it out. They must think it contains things that will hurt his image.
They won't let anyone see it, not ever?
Only one person outside of the government ever got to see it, a biographer, Sir Richmond Chapel. He had friends among the German royals and they let him look at it.
Did you ever try to contact Chapel? Pick his brain?
No, and I don't believe I never thought of that. If you do and you find out anything, you must share.
It's a promise. Tell me about Ludwig.
I don't know where to start. There's so much. Politically, the most significant thing about Ludwig II was that he signed over independent Bavarian statehood to Prussia in 1870. Bavaria became a part of United Germany, and Ludwig became a figurehead prince under the Prussian Kaiser.
Why do you think he did that?
Bavaria had been involved in the 100 Years' War. People were tired of fighting. Prussia's push to unite the German states made some amount of sense. Still, Ludwig must have had other options. At the very least, he should have negotiated better terms.
So what was the real reason?
He was manipulated by Bismarck. At least that's what I think, anyway.
What about Ludwig personally?
You'll find two perspectives on Ludwig. The view the tourists get is the romantic ideal, Ludwig the tormented loner. Then there is the historian's point of view. Ludwig was plagued with guilt over his sexual orientation and was driven mad with self-loathing.
But I take it you're not buying either point of view.
Well, it's all too convenient, isn't it? That he was a devout Catholic, there is no question, and I'm sure there were pressures on him to be normal. But he was no prude. He loved Byron. Yes. Philosophy, the French court. If anything, Ludwig was too much an egomaniac. He didn't give a damn what anyone thought. And besides, he didn't try to hide any of his relationships. If he suffered from anything in his romantic life, it was disillusionment. No one loved him back as purely as he himself loved.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, if it wasn't sexual guilt that tormented him, what was it?
I don't know. His diary was filled with self-guilt, but I'm sure it's not about that. If I knew, I'd write my own book, set the record straight, so to speak.
Though we're talking about sexual orientation, Spencer, you need to have a look at my Instagram account. I have new pics up there.
Have you read anything about Ludwig's midnight sleigh rides?
Oh, would that have been something? To be out at night and suddenly see him sweep by with his entourage? They say the night agitated Ludwig, and that being outdoors and the rushing feeling of the sleigh calmed him down. Sometimes even the sleigh wasn't enough. He would stop in some remote woods, order his servants to stay put, and go wandering off by himself for hours. It drove the servants
You'd
crazy.
have a look at my Instagram account.
Tell me about Bismarck.
Bismarck. He was the Prussian Kaiser's chancellor. Not a nice man. Bismarck had a reputation for learning people's weaknesses and manipulating them. It's a matter of record that he had spies on Ludwig's staff. He may even have had a henchman even closer to the king. And he was involved in the conspiracy to declare Ludwig insane.
Did you find out anything about the Black Wolf?
I did. I'd read about him before, but I hadn't realized that was who you were talking about. His name was Godin, Paul Godin. I found a reference to his being called the Black Wolf after you telephoned.
I've never heard of him. Who was he?
I don't have a
Godin lived on the
Grindr
fringes
account,
of the Prussian
Spencer.
court.
Not anymore.
He was handsome, charming, dangerous, or so they say. He was variously rumored to have been a foreign prince, a Prussian spy, even an assassin. Since you were interested in him, I found out some things that are probably true. It said he came from abroad in the mid-1800s, but claimed high German blood.
Do you know where he came from?
No. And he was ruthlessly ambitious. He probably found out who held the power, Bismarck, and offered his services. Bismarck was a good judge of talent, of that sort anyway.
What else do you know about Godin?
He must have done something remarkable. Bismarck was not a generous man. He liked to string people along with promises, but rarely came through. He did for Godin, though. He gave him a royal title and lands in 1863. And that was the last reference I found to him.
Well, how could he just disappear?
It's not that unusual. Back then, when you were given a title, you usually changed your name and moved to a place where no one knew your past, so you could act with impunity. Or be a pompous ass and get away with it.
I don't think that's a thing. Are there classes in German culture? Kultur? I don't think so.
Is there any way to find out what Godin was called after he got his title?
Is it that critical?
It might be.
Well, you could send away for a copy of the entitlement deed, assuming it has been destroyed during one of the wars.
Die deutsche Kultur.
Godin's new name would be on it. But you would need a research permit from the government to access those records, and they can be very hard to get. A lot of red tape.
Great. What do you know about Ludwig's hunting accident?
A couple of years ago, I was introduced to this great old man, a real old world farmer. Well, his grandfather was Richard Horning, Ludwig's equestrian. Oh, he told some great Ludwig stories. Sometimes I get lucky. Anyway, he said that after the hunting accident, Ludwig got terribly ill, that he had a fever and was acting crazy. They were afraid that the wolf had been carrying a disease or that the bite had gone septic.
A wolf bit him?
Yeah, it's not so unusual. There were a lot of wolves in the Alps back then. The servants were really worried, but Ludwig recovered, physically anyway. Horning's grandfather said it was the fever that broke Ludwig's mind, that he was worse than ever after that.
Well, usually in Austria you need to be able to speak Hochdeutsch. High German, yeah, well, that's a thing. Actually, that's one-on-one translated. It's a thing. So you should be able to speak without an accent, yeah. So sometimes when people have a really strong accent, so you know they're from the countryside, it's like, okay, what school have you taken or anything like that? But it's not that bad.
What do you mean Ludwig got worse after the accident?
Landslide people also don't like the city people.
Ludwig always had been a very private person. But after the accident, he got darker, more crazy. Towards the end, he was even forcing his servants to enter his chambers bent over so they couldn't see his face. Horning's grandfather said his temper was fearsome. He would fly into a rage at the least mistake.
Must have been terrified of him.
Yes, well. Horning's grandfather felt sorry for Ludwig, and Ludwig hated his own violence. He was always giving gifts to his servants to apologize.
Oh, in Austria everyone is treated with respect. You're always polite and smile and everything like that. But when they turn their back to you, then you talk about them.
You mentioned that there were other reasons why Ludwig's servants feared him.
Yeah, Rico, yeah.
That's another of Horning's mysteries. There's a story about Neuschwanstein. Apparently there was a period of time of 2 or 3 months when Wagner would come and visit him
Wagner?
there. Yeah. The two would lock themselves in the singer's hall. Horning's grandfather said the sounds that came from there were awful. Well, the servants had superstitious minds anyway. Some of them quit over it, just walked away.
What kind of sounds?
Horning's grandfather called them heartbreaking and ungodly. Maybe it was Wagner trying to sing.
Well, I guess that's all for now. Thanks for your help.
It's my pleasure. And if you ever want to talk again, just give me a call. I'll meet you down there.
I will. Thanks.
Servus.
Oh, and
Bye.
I'm the filthiest one.
This is where they found Ludwig's body.
That's a thing. I can do that. Could I also have done that at Marienplatz? Oh my god. No, we don't do tracks over here. At least I don't. Enrico. But I have to stop the stream for today. My headache is getting worse again. So, yeah. I have to lay down. I'm super tired and I can't stand the light right now.
Now, as I was
I've
saying,
thought of a crane.
drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. If you do them, you're bad. Because drugs are bad, okay? It's a bad thing to do drugs, so don't be bad by doing drugs, okay? That'd be bad. Drugs are bad.
Why is Mr. McKay from South Park sounding like Trump? Why? McCrane sucks. And you know, so that you guys can actually even see me, I have a really bright light here. And that's not helping me. But hey, I've streamed now 2 hours with the 2 hours from the morning, 4 hours for a day, it's fine. Oh, Spencer. Get something oily to eat for your hangover. So yeah, I will turn out all the lights and maybe try to retouch some of my pictures from the shooting yesterday, so I have more content from my social media platforms. And then we'll go to bed. Gabriel Knight spiele ich wieder am Wochenende. So Gabriel Knight I will be playing again next weekend. Montag and Monday I will play the Elder Scrolls Online for the first time at 8 p.m. And before that Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. So morgen Heroes of the Storm und Elder Scrolls Online. So tomorrow I will be online really late, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Spencer, no! 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 Okay, Enrico, bis nächstes Wochenende. Schönen Abend noch und danke fürs Zuschauen. Spencer, have a good evening and don't rub anything on your body. Bye, dudes.